Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snap Series month of Horror-WEEN. We'll be discussing the Elm Street franchise for you guys in a very blunt way. I'm your host, Steven Harrold, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my review for A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, which was released in 1989. Rushed into theaters in 1989 after the success of Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Elm Street 5 is widely regarded as one of the weaker films in the franchise. The rushed script, a poor idea, and also some really bad characters. Now, a lot of people have grown up watching this movie, and some people actually appreciate it, but some people just think it's a massive dud. So what do I personally think of it? Let's get into that review, shall we? This is my review for Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. For the story of this film, we have Alice, who is now together with Dan, and she is going to be going to Paris with him after graduation, but Freddy Krueger has been conjured up somehow, and then it is revealed in a scene that Alice is pregnant, and she doesn't understand how Freddy is able to get to her friends and to her while she's actually awake. And it's now a struggle for her to find out how to stop Freddy once and for all, while also protecting her unborn child. Now, for this story, it is kind of pretty much obvious that, you know, they wanted to introduce a new element that could bring Freddy back and have Alice be that wonderful foe again. The only problem is, this film was really rushed with its script. I mean, like, they basically had made this script idea a while ago, and then they decided, no, we don't like that idea, and then they came back to do it again. They're like, yeah, we like that now, suddenly. With the story, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, like, it's an interesting concept that Freddy Krueger is invading the dreams of an unborn child, and it's kind of a stretch to actually go that route, but nonetheless, I mean, the story has its weak points and it has its strong points, so I'm kind of in the middle when it comes to its story. So we have our main protagonist in this film, Alice, played by Lisa Wilcox. She does wonderfully in this film because she wasn't like the side character in the beginning of part 4 like she was, and then became the final girl in part 4. In this one, she's a stronger character. I mean, like, I love her arc in this film. The fact that now she has to deal with Freddy again, but also at the same time deal with the trauma of losing Dan and now being pregnant and having to raise the child on her own is one of those things that makes her a stronger character. Now, what do I personally think about her in the whole as a Nightmare on Elm Street after doing this film? I think it's a lot better. I did like her performance in 4. I just didn't like the fact that she is thought of as the girl who always daydreams and shit, and she wasn't that great. But then becomes the final girl. It's like, okay, finally, we get there. This one, she's a strong character the whole entire film through, and it helps. So personally, I do love Lisa Wilcox's performance in this film. Now, you guys probably have noticed that I never really talked about Dan in 4, because personally, Dan is in the same spectrum as the other side characters in number 4, and it just so happens to be the same effect when it comes to 5. Dan is just another write-off character who just got lucky at the end of part 4, but don't worry, they rectify that in this fucking film. And when it comes to this film's other characters, the side characters, the best friends of Alice in this film, they are fucking weak. I mean, we have Mark, who is, you know, 2 character traits. You know, he loves drawing and making comic books and reading comic books, but he fucking hates blood. Then you got Greta, whose mom is basically a rich person who wants her to get into modeling, and she's the pretty girl in the school. And then you got Yvonne, who, you know, just, oh, she thinks of things realistically, but also she works at the hospital as a nurse, and she likes to go diving a lot and swim. These characters are just bland, boring, and I mean, like, I don't mind Mark at all, but, you know, Yvonne is just like, she's that one character that you're supposed to side with. It's like she's looking at things that are a little bit more realistic, like when she's being told about the facts about Freddy Krueger, and she just brushes them off until she finally meets Freddy Krueger herself or deals with him. And it doesn't even matter, like, the fact that she fucking lived throughout this whole entire movie, it's like, why didn't she die? Like, that makes no fucking sense to me. But other than that, when it comes to those other characters, I like Part 4's versions better because these ones are just carbon copies of Part 4's characters to a T. Oh yeah, and then we have Jacob, the boy in Alice's dreams, which becomes the son. And not to knock the actor himself, because he was just a kid. I just did not like this kid. I could have cared less about this character, especially the end where you see him with the Freddy makeup and he's just like, you know, I want to learn stuff from you, and even does the like, take me, just chuckles like Freddy, like why? And then to have him be defeated, like I thought Elm Street 2's death of Freddy was, you know, oh, he got killed by love. This kid throws up on him, and then the souls of the dead people in this film come out from his back, and then he gets ripped, his baby form gets ripped out of him. Shit. Yeah, not much to say. I wasn't impressed. Now we get into our antagonist, Freddy Krueger, in this film. I know I said a lot of things about Part 3's makeup, but then here we are in Part 5. He's starting to look like he's starting to heal. And he, you know, we see him come back as a baby because he used the spirit of his mom to resurrect him again. And then she suddenly is like, okay, you brought me back to give you life, and now I have to take your life. It's like, what? That makes no fucking sense. Freddy being able to invade Alice's baby's dreams is interesting. It's like, oh, okay, he knows a loophole in this system. But when it comes to Freddy, it's like, okay, we get more backstory reveal about him being the bastard son of 100 maniacs, and how he's basically afraid to come into a church or be afraid of the place that these maniacs held and, you know, did the deed with fucking Krueger's mom. But when it comes to the performance, it's like, it's almost wacky. Like they had this interesting concept that he was supposed to be scarier in this movie, and he was not fucking scarier. I mean, when you have Super Freddy, you now know that you fucking went to comedic territory, but it's not even the worst. And it's just a step up from the worst one, I will have to say. But when it comes to this film, it's like, yeah, the quirky humor really started to come out in this film. And then the next film, they made it worse. But other than that, Freddy started becoming more of a joke this time. When it comes to the gore and the kills of this film, oh, fuck. Again, we have 3 kills. Like, Freddy's body count just sucks. You know, we have Greta's kill, who is, you know, she's being fed herself in her dream and gets killed that way. And there's even a scene, if you guys pay attention to it, when Freddy's spoon finger glove thing goes up to Greta's mouth. You can see that the thing bends. It's like, yeah, and that's a fake glove. And then you have Dan's death, which is probably the coolest thing, because it's like Freddy Krueger controls him while he's sleeping, or, you know, sleeping while he's driving and shit. So he tears his arm off and uses a seatbelt, you know, bad year, Dan, right? And then he becomes the motorcycle that Dan drives. And it's like, whoa, fuck, okay. And, you know, that line, this boy feels the need for speed. Okay, cool. We got our Top Gun reference. Awesome. And then you got Mark's kill, which includes Super Freddy. Because, you know, he has to be the Phantom Prowler in his dream. So, like, okay, we got a little bit of Elm Street 3 coming here, right? But the fact that Mark gets killed, like, in the form of a comic book, where he's just a paper character and Freddy's just tearing this thing up or whatever, you'd expect that when he dies in real life, he would have been torn to shit, but that didn't happen. He just had a bunch of shit fall on him. The deaths in the gore are just fucking weird, and personally, like, they're just weak. I mean, like, it doesn't help that we've seen better, so it's just kind of like, why did these deaths become so fucking weak? And also on top of that, just the wherewithal that Freddy has to put a pun in there every single time now. I mean, like, Bon Appetit, bitch. It's like, Sorry, that's not as good as Welcome to Primetime, bitch. But nonetheless, the gore and the kills are just below par. When it comes to this film, it's kind of hard to even talk about, because it's like, this is the one film I remember, like, the last film I ever rented at a movie gallery. I mean, like, same cover as we got here, and a friend of mine lived next to a movie gallery, and basically it was, you enjoyed it at the time, but then when you become older and you've seen the other films, and it's just like, this one does not stand tall like the rest. For me, when it comes to this film, even revisiting it, it's like, okay, the story was interesting and Alice became a stronger character, but it doesn't help when it's like, okay, we're touching on, like, you know, abortion and all that kind of shit, right? And then you have bland, boring fucking protagonists and weak kills in this film, and Freddy's demise in this film. It's just, oh god, this is just fucking weird and bad. So when it comes to this film, it's like, does it have that replay value? Sure, maybe. I mean, if you want to see Freddy become a bit of a joke, and as if you're looking for scares in this film, you're not going to get them. And this film is below, and like all the other films. So when it comes to me and dealing with the people who do like this film, the people who don't like this film, I'm on that camp that just doesn't like this film. So, for my rating, I'm going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, a 3.5 out of 10. So tell me, guys, what did you guys think of Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child? Let me know in the comments down below. And make sure you, if you like this video, to hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you get notified about all the other videos coming out on the channel, especially when it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. This has been Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven Harrold. I will talk to you guys later. And whatever you do, don't fall asleep. Especially while you're driving. Don't dream and drive.